Hi everybody, this is my review on Sonic Prime. The I was originally gonna review season 3, but then I rewatched my old videos of season 1 and 2, and I think I'm just gonna re-review them again, like, cause I look back and they're pretty not that great. So I'm gonna review Sonic Prime all over again. Not just the third season, but both the first, second season too. If you look up, I kind of redesigned my room. I bought a new shelf or desk, and I added some stuff. My dad came over to help put some shelves in and for my stuff. Well, anyways, enough of that. Now here's my review on Sonic Prime. Okay, so the first season was pretty great. I said that for a Sonic the Hedgehog show, I basically want something that's more like the video games, but the idea I have was like have it be CGI, kind of like what Sonic Prime and Sonic Boom did, like a full CG series, but have it try to be closer to the video games and borrow storylines from the video games, kind of like what Sonic X did, just minus the Chris Thorndike and going to the normal human dimension, like our world, and try to tell gripping epic stories, kind of like what the Sad AM series did. But the only thing that tries to do that is Sonic Prime, only they go to a different universe and we see different variants of the Sonic friends. Now, when I first saw the series, I thought it was going to be like he shattered the Paradox Prism, but it ended up splitting the universe into three, but no, apparently the universe is fine. It's just it's in like a ghostly state, and they need to fix the paradox prism. But yeah, so I'll get to that in a sec. The show starts out in Green Hills, and I really like how they did Green Hills, and I like that he collects rains. I like how, because this is by a animation studio called Wild Brain. They used to be Deke Entertainment before they merged with another company. But yeah, Wild Brain, they did like the Ninjago series, the second Lego Ninjago series, and I really like how they did this here because they ordered new computers to give it more of a more epic and bigger look, and they really shine because I really liked when it was in Green Hills and they stuck to the main cast. And I like seeing Rouge the Bat again. Like, I like her new outfit, and I like that we haven't seen her in a while. Like, we haven't seen her since Sonic X, and she gets a new outfit and everything. Because I don't think the outfit might not have been favored to some, so I feel like this is a new outfit that's that more fans can appreciate or something. But I also like that it takes place in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe, but in the beginning ends. I really like how they did the Green Hill Zone, and I really like with the main cast, like, and seeing Big the Cat in there. That's pretty neat. But I kind of would like a Sonic series if it did that. But no, the where they go to the other universes is pretty cool. But yeah, he smashes the Paradox Prism, but he goes to another universe, and the other universe is like New York. It's a New York, but in that universe, Green Hill's been turned into like a miserable Blade Runner, dark, gloomy, dystopian city, and Sonic doesn't like it because he's like smog, concrete, everything. It's awful. So he tries to find some answers, and then he runs into Tails, which is like a grumpier, miserable version named Nine, who has like Doctor Octopus legs. But yeah, and they do a cool flashback where it's like it's in pixely animation. And I should also mention the same people who did this show also did Mega Man Fully Recharged. It was a cartoon Mega Man series, and yeah, Man of Action is also the people responsible for doing Ben 10, Generator Rex, and Ultimate Spider-Man. Like, and I like how they do these animation pixely graphics, but here's something I want to bring up. I watched the beginning parts of Mega Man Fully Recharged, but that show tried to be more kiddish, but I feel like that was more like Cartoon Network's idea, because when you look at Cartoon Network in the mid 2000s, they try to make a lot of shows more for younger audiences, and I feel like that's what they try to do with Fully Recharged. Like here's an example. Okay, so I own a comic called Mega Man Fully Recharged that's basically based off Man of Action's idea, but this one tries to be more serious and have more serious animation. But there's a lot of inspiration on it. But here's how I feel. I think that that was originally Man of Action's idea, but I feel like Cartoon Network interfered and tried to make it more kiddish friendly, which isn't bad. It's just that's not the idea they were looking for. But yeah, but Sonic Prime's by Netflix, not Cartoon Network. Sonic Boom was by Cartoon Network, but this one's by Netflix and tries to take things more seriously. And like I was saying, I really do like, because they do animation flashbacks that's in pixely animation, and they show Tails' backstory. And Mega Man Fully Recharged, he also did some pixely flashbacks, which is pretty neat. But yeah, and in here they show Tails, and Tails, they did a flashback where Sonic saved Tails from some bullies picking on him from having an extra tail. But in this universe, Nine was like, people were picking on him from extra tails, but everyone was like that. So he built robotic tails so no one can bother him again. And apparently, all that bullying him made him into an aggressive person. So most of these universes are kind of like what if universe, and what if Sonic never even existed. There was a Sonic Boom episode where Sonic went to another universe and Robotnik Eggman took over and he tried to save it. Yeah, that one was done differently, but this is done really differently. Like, there's an Eggman Council, like Dr. Eggman is called Mr. Dr. Eggman, and there's other ones like a baby version named Dr. Babbles, a teenage version named Dr. Don't, a ninja samurai version named Dr. Deep, and an old man version named Dr. Donut, which they all have D's in their names, but not Egg something or Eggman. But yeah, so the council's pretty interesting how they did that. But yeah, Sonic got captured by the Eggman Council, but he got some energy from the Paradox Prism. So Nine builds these things to connect with the universe he's in, and he gets new shoes and a new look, but he has so much power that it ends up almost exploding everything. So, but if he runs really fast, he sees Shadow, and there's like a flashback of Shadow. He's like, and there's pretty a funny scene where he's like, "Oh yeah, he has rollerblades," and Shadow's like, "They're air shoes," and that's pretty funny. But I do like the comedy routine they have, and oh, there's a later scene of them, but I'll get to that later. But anyways, and we see like the variants in this. Like there's one called Rusty Rose, which is like a cyborg version of Amy. Like remember in the '90s cartoon, the Sonic Sat AM series or Sonic Underground, where they roboticize people? Like it's almost like that, but with Amy. And you open, and she opens her heart, and there's like a bird in there, and it's like, and Sonic's like, that's disturbing. But yeah, so later Sonic does get rescued by Renegade Nux and Rebel, which is like versions of Rouge the Bad and Knuckles. And I really like the different versions of Rouge, because in Sonic X, if you remember her in Sonic X, she acted pretty sexy and a bit like, oh, I want to steal stuff and try to be, that kind of personality. I don't know what's it called, but I really like the different personalities. Like in the dystopian city, she's like a serious rebel leader, and in the jungle universe, she's kind of like a good friend and a strong leader there too. But yeah, we'll get to that in a sec. So, anyways, they break out. They try to find the Paradox Prism, but then Sonic's like, I share the Paradox Prism. I create this world. And there's a lot of cool parts, like when Nine hacked in and saved Amy, and or Rusty Rose as she called. But then Sonic touches the Paradox Prism and goes to another universe where it's all jungle caveman. And Tails is very different in that universe. His name's Meiji, and he's like a crazy, vicious animal character. And the jungle people are trying to be like, we gotta find food, but there's that monster. And then she's like, and then Sonic is like, I'll fight this monster, but then he finds a giant bird, and they were like, that's not the monster, that's the monster's pet. And then Sonic finds the monster, and it's like a version of Amy, like a jungle Amy. And Sonic is like, you gotta stop this, because there's like a communication error, like, you need to take care of the jungle better and take care of the food better. And then there's a big scene where she uses the Paradox Prism in their universe, and Amy, I think, her name's Thorn Rose, and then Thorn Rose uses their version of the Paradox Prism and makes the trees big. And she was, but then she sees how out of control, and there's like a nice flashback where Sonic's Amy tells about a tree, and she's like, the tree's about the memories we make on the way and all the good times. And I thought that was a sweet part. And then Sonic remembers that and tries to help Thorn Rose and tries to communicate with the friends. And it gets a bit crazy, and then they realize they should be friends. And you can tell there's a lot of environmental messages, like the whole, like, it's not too, like, it is a hammer on the head a bit, but it's not too crammed into you. Like, there is like trying to learn about the jungle and try to take care of it better, and then there's like the city world that tries to be like, try to do better, tries to save the world there, and we gotta stop this and saves our trees, you know, that kind of stuff. But anyways, so Sonic finds the Paradox Prism and tries to fix the friendship with Thorn and Jungle Rouge. Sorry, I forgot Jungle Rouge's name, but anyways, Sonic uses the Paradox Prism to go back to the city world, and then apparently they go back to him, and then to Rebel and Renegade Nux to, and Knuckles is voiced by different actors, like in Sonic's original universe and this universe, but yeah, it's a different actor voicing each Knuckles, but yeah, it's interesting how they did that. That's kind of strange. But anyways, and I do like that Knuckles is not the stupid Knuckles from Sonic Boom. I thought that was kind of lame, but I like that he's more serious in this version. There, you could tell that the Knuckles in the main Sonic universe sounds like Idris Elba Knuckles a little bit, so it's interesting how they did that. And Knuckles and Rouge says, you've been gone for like 2 weeks or half a week, and I'm like, whoa, time works differently here. So, and I noticed some parallels between this and the video game Half-Life 2. Like, really think about it. Like, he gets transported into a city, there's a whole conversation about them disappearing, and he's like, you've been gone for almost half a week.
A day? You've been gone weeks.
Weeks? Really?
Indeed, it did. And the repercussions were felt far and wide, but that was over a week ago.
What do you mean? Gordon and I were just there a minute ago.
Yeah, so that's interesting that they did that. And there's like a third act later where they're like trying to fight a war and them fighting together. So it's interesting how they did that. Like, I wonder if they meant to do that on purpose to be like Half-Life 2. I wonder if this was just an amazing coincidence or they're referencing Half-Life 2. But so 9 escapes with the Paradox Prism, takes it away, and there's a whole misunderstanding where Renegade Nux and Rebel thinks he abandoned them, but 9 takes the Paradox Prism and travels to other universe and goes to an abandoned universe. He's like, we can create our own universe, but Sonic's like, we gotta save this one. And 9 doesn't bother with that universe because it brought him nothing but pain, but then he does go back eventually and saves everyone, so that was nice. And Sonic tries to find him, but then goes to another universe where everything's pirates. The pirate universe was pretty interesting how they did that, and they do another pixely flashback that referenced Sonic 3, where Knuckles tries to fight Sonic, and he says, Dr. Eggman's told me all about you. But here, this is a different Knuckles, and Knuckles is called Knuckles the Dread, and it is funny to see all Sonic's friends talk like pirates, and then there's a whole story where Knuckles the Dread is like, we need to find the Devil's Lighthouse, but all my crew abandoned me, and then there's a cool thing where Sonic becomes captain, and then they try to find the Paradox Prism, but everything in this world is kind of like underwater, kind of like that movie Waterworld, but with pirates, and I wonder how this universe got created, because there's obviously no version of Sonic in this universe. Like all these universes don't have their own Sonic. They have their own Knuckles, they have their own Rouge, they have their own Tails and Amy, but only one has Dr. Robotnik, I mean Dr. Eggman, and the other ones don't have a Sonic in their universe. But yeah, all of these are kind of like, what if Sonic doesn't appear? But I wonder how these even got created. Like the city one is basically what if Eggman took over with cities, but that's because Sonic wasn't there to stop it. But I don't know how the jungle world doesn't get created, or how Sonic doesn't exist in those universes. But anyways, he goes underwater, and this is basically like Sonic's nightmare because he hates water. And they do reference the orca, like in Sonic Adventure, where he runs away from this orca. And I do like that. And they go to the Devil's Lighthouse, which is a shard, and apparently Sonic's boots does match the universe, which I guess is a good idea how to sell different toys, but does get creative and how to goes to this universe and matches the universe he changed into, like in his boots change, and there's like a glow where he finds the different shards. So he finds the shard in that universe, and then he gets teleported, but then he's in the Shadow Space universe, like in the Limbo universe, and he finds Shadow, and he's like, Shadow, where is it? I gotta find home.
I don't
And
have
then
time to deal with whoever
Shadow is
you
like,
are. I just want to go home.
you,
Home?
home doesn't exist,
Home
and it's
doesn't
all because of
exist
you.
anymore.
And then
Because
that's
of
how
you!
season one ends. And they only did 8 episodes, but at first I thought this was like part one of part two, but and they'll show new episodes of the season one later. But nope, apparently it's 8 episodes in each different season. Only season three had 7 episodes. But in the next episode, they go to Sonic and Shadow fight, and then Sonic realized that's his version of Sonic in his universe. And then the reason why Shadow survived is because he had the Chaos Emerald and he teleported into the Shadow Space universe with him, but only Sonic can cross over to the universe and not him. But so he goes back to Green Hill Zone, but it's all ghostly and bleak and a bit colorless. So but all of Sonic's friends are basically ghosts and are just repeating the same thing. And then Sonic's like, how do we fix this? And then Shadow's like, we gotta fix the Paradox Prism and try to put them together. But then and then Sonic's like, we gotta do this. And then Shadow's like, no, you caused enough damage. And there's like a cool fight scene. But then Shadow is like, he tries to use the tech to get through the other universes, because before he was trying to contact Sonic, because every time Sonic runs faster, he sees Shadow, and Shadow's trying to contact him, but then Sonic and Shadow, after their fights, Shadow uses the tech to cross over to the other universe, but he's like, it's not the tech, it's you. And then he realized, we gotta work together. And they're like, yeah, let's work. He's like, we gotta work together. And Sonic gets excited. And I like seeing Shadow and Sonic work together. I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, so I forgot to mention, in the pirate universe, there's an interesting part where Rusty Rose, the robot cyborg Amy, found a way to travel to other universes, and because they used the Paradox Prism, because the Eggman Council stole it from Nine, and then they keep Nine hostage, and Nine is. But then there was an interesting part where Rusty Rose sees Black Rose, that's the pirate name, so for her, and she almost glitched out and tries to get her memories back, and she tries to remember who she is, and there's like a cool fight where with the robots and the pirates in that universe. So I thought that was pretty interesting to watch. But then they tie her up, and then they're like, oh, and then it's interesting how they interact. And don't worry, we're gonna see a really cool scene what they did with each other. But anyways, like I was saying, so the Eggman Council found a way to travel to other dimensions, and then they go to the Jungle Universe and try to take over that with their robots, and then Sonic's like, I won't let you down, Shadow. And they released that first episode on YouTube, believe it or not, so it was really exciting to see. So now in the Jungle Universe, it's Dr. Don't and Dr. Babbles, and they try to fight. He comes back, they try to help, and there's a gross part where Thorn Rose tries to hide the Paradox Prism in the belly of the birds, and they try to steal it. And they try to work together, which is a pretty cool scene to see. But then later, the Eggman Council steals it from that universe, and they try to go to the other universe. And then Thorn Rose was like, "You better come back and help us," and she's like, "I will." And then they try to go to other dimensions, and they go back to the pirate universe. And then in the pirate universe, they try to help out there again, and then they fight all these robots. Oh, but Nine is like a double agent, like he's pretending to work for the council, but he tries to pretend he's on the Eggman Council side, but and helps Sonic. And then, but yeah, Sonic goes to the pirate universe and tries to help out the pirate versions of them, but then there's a whole misunderstanding where Knuckles the Dread gets greedy for the Paradox Prism, and then he's like, Sonic abandoned us. He tried to steal the Paradox Prism, the Devil's Lighthouse, and then he goes back, he's like, no, and he's like, you abandoned us, and he was like, no, I didn't, I was fighting robots. I tried to get back, and then he's like, "We don't believe you." And then they chased him, and he walks on water, and it's really an intense moment because he's like, you can't go that fast over water." So he tries to find another way, and there's a funny scene where because Rusty Rose is working together with the pirate universe, and they try to bond, and then there's like, I can shoot more robots, and it's like 1, 2, 55, 56, 57, and it's pretty funny how they do that. So Sonic runs, and then they try to go to the other universe, but Dr. Deep and Dr. Dunnett tries to, again, steals the Paradox Prism and goes to the other world, but then Knuckles the Dread takes along and goes to the other universe, which is on the other side, and then Knuckles the Dread, the pirate Knuckles, goes to New York City, and yeah, this is where it gets really interesting. So he's in New York City again. It's 5 o'clock, that's my Pepe Le Pew, and if you watch my other videos of the Sonic Prime Season 1 and 2, I do it always at 5 o'clock, and it's what are the chances I do these Sonic Prime reviews on, this is the third time I did it on a video about Sonic Prime around 5 o'clock. Oh boy. Well, anyways, they go to the New York City, and then they try to fight against the Eggman Council, and then they try to break in, but then there's an evil robot of Sonic called Chaos Sonic, and he tries to give it a little bit, and it almost sounded like Jaleel White. I thought it was Jaleel White, but it was the voice actor who's doing the voice of Sonic, but he kind of almost sounded like Jaleel White Sonic a little bit, but yeah, and Chaos Sonic was really funny. He's kind of like, "Oh, I gotta stop you. Oh, yeah." And Chaos Sonic got really annoying. It's like, I can be on merchandise, this. And he got really annoying, and there's a funny part where it's like, Sonic defeated him with a bus, and he's like, he had to catch a bus. And I'm like, oh, those. And then they destroyed Chaos Sonic, but then he goes to find Nine, and the Eggman Council discover he's a double agent, but then they rescue him, and there's a whole thing about trust, and he's like, I gotta trust you, like this gotta trust, this trust. And it's like, do you trust him? And then, oh, the ending they did for there. So they grab the Paradox Prism, but then Knuckles the Dread runs into like Renegade Knux, and there's like a whole funny scene. It's like, whoa, this is weird. Did I get hit on the head too much, or am I seeing doubles? So like, and then there's doubles, and it was cool seeing them interact with each other. I like that. But yeah, because the Eggman Council, like, they recycle and build new robots, and there's like giant robots, and that's how they invented Chaos Sonic, by recycling. And so Nine and Sonic teams up and puts the Paradox Prism in these crates and tries to travel to Sonic's universe, and Nine tries to fix the Paradox Prism, but when Shadow meets them there, and the Eggman Council tries to invade and steal it. But then there's a whole cool scene where the Chaos Council creates this like giant evil Eggman monster, and then tries to fight them, and then Nine uses the power to create a Supersonic and tries to go really fast and defeats the Chaos Council, which is pretty cool to see. And Nine fixes the Paradox Prism, but turns out he needs one more shard before he can permanently fix it. But then he's like, we can use it to make my world, because there's like a whole scene where he goes to like another universe where he wants to create his own universe, and he used the the power of the Paradox Prism to create like a new universe. But Sun's like, no, we gotta use it to fix my world. And then Nine was like, you only wanted me because you wanted to fix your universe, what you wanted. And then he betrays them and steals the Paradox Prism. And what are the chances? Not Renegade Knux and Rogue and Shadow keep talking about him. Are you sure we can trust him? And then he's like, and then Nine straight up betrays him. And here's something: Nine becomes a straight up villain in season 3. Like, yeah, he steals the Paradox Prism and uses their power, but then Sonic and Shadow tries to go to his universe, and Shadow's like, I can't get through those universe, but they found a back way. And then Shadow fights robot versions of themselves and their friends, and then Nine creates them. He's like, I can use the Paradox Prism to create my own universe, because everyone bullied me. And then Shadow and Sonic tries to fight the evil robots, and yeah, they posted this episode again on YouTube earlier, and I really enjoyed watching that episode, and got really tense. And there's like a fake out death scene, like you think Shadow was dead, and he falls down a crack, and then he's like, oh no, oh, what's gonna happen to Shadow? But he comes back. Of course, it's one of these shows where of course he comes back. I mean, they can't kill off Shadow. He's an important character. And yeah, and I love seeing Shadow and Sonic team up and tries to save the universe. Like, I like seeing that. And then Shadow tries to send Sonic back out of the universe because the Paradox Prism can be powered up by him. And Tails realized that, and Shadow realized that, so they had to send him back. And then tries to travel to other universe, and then he goes to New York City, and then the Eggman Council, and then because the other universes, they try to merge both universes. Like, the city goes to like the water pirate universe and the jungle universe, and they both try to merge, which is finding some weird parallels with the 1993 Super Mario Brothers. I mean, think about it, traveling to another universe, merging each universe. Really think about that. But they discover their universes are in danger. So later, the Eggman Council teams up with Sonic, and then they go to the Citadel, and the rebels were like, we gotta team up with these guys? Oh, come on. But they're like, well, we have something in common. We gotta defeat Nine. And they brought them all together, and Nine appears like as a giant hologram, kind of like the Wizard of Oz almost. And here's a little criticism my mom pointed out about Sonic Prime. Like, she wanted me to take a break in between seasons, and my mom's problem with, because I watched this show a little bit with my mom, and her criticism is that she feels like the show just keeps going, like it's just one story in one episode, like it just keeps going and going and going, like it's one premise and just keeps going, and it's like a stretched all an episode. And I guess it can get a bit tiring. Here's something: when it finally goes to the other universe to fight Nine, and there's like an army of robots, and it is really epic, and there's like a fake out death with Meiji and Sails, the pirate and the jungle version of Tails. But then they come back and pilot a Big the Cat robot, which is pretty cool. Also, I just want to say there was a cool scene where Nine sees his version of Sails and Mangy, and then they looked at them like, huh? Like, that was pretty interesting of how they finally realized the other universes. And yeah, and there was another fake out. That's also, I want to mention Big the Cat. Big the Cat, I like that he's more in this episode, and we get to see other universes of him. And there's a cool part where the pirate version of Big the Cat hits his head, and he starts talking fancy, and that was pretty neat. But here's another criticism that I have heard someone said, but I realized it. Maybe it was Mom's criticism, but even I felt, because the entire episode was them fighting robots over and over again and doing different ways how to fight robots and learning how to work as a team, which is still pretty cool, like them working as a team and trying to figure this out. But it was getting a bit fatigue and tiring of them just fighting robots and keep going and going, and I'm like, okay, tell a different story. But yeah, and I guess that got a bit tiring. But then it gets to the awesome part where they try to fight Nine, and then Sonic tries to reason with Nine, but he can't be reasonless. But then he discovers that the universe is getting destroyed, and then Sonic talks to Nine, and then looks at the place he made with the little in the inside, and then he's like, "I'm sorry, I didn't appreciate what you did for me. I should have appreciated more or something." And then but then he realized what he's doing, and he's in the wrong, and then the world's getting destroyed, and then he's like, we gotta fix this. And then they're like, can we trust him? We don't have any other choice because the world's gonna get destroyed. And then he harnessed Sonic's power to go to the prism energy, but then the Eggman Council then betrays them, and then they get banished to the limbo zone of the shatter space, and then Sonic almost fades away, but then the Paradox Prism almost creates the universe. Also, I do want to point out, I really like the scene with the Amy's interacting with each other, like Pirate Amy and Thorn Rose Amy and Rusty Rose Amy, and they're all best friends and they call each other sisters, and I thought that was really adorable, and I love the character development that Rusty Rose goes through. But so Shadow tries to save the day. I mean, Shadow tries to pick up Sonic, and well, Thorn Rose gives Sonic a ride on the bird, and then they give them a ride on a ship, and then Shadow runs really fast because he's almost fading away. Then they go to the other universe, and then his universe is completely fixed, the Paradox Prism, and it's like before. And then Sonic fights Robot Eggman, but then it was like before where Tails is like, Sonic, wait, Sonic, no, and then he hugs Eggman. It's like, I'm good to see you back, and then Eggman's like, what, you're being weird, and then they fight them. But then Shadow comes in, he has his Chaos Emerald, and I forgot to mention he dropped the Chaos Emerald in like a black hole universe where everything decays. So he gets back to his universe, and then they're all back in their universe, but I think Shadow remembers, and then he teleports the Paradox Prism away from Eggman so he won't use it again. But then they realize we gotta learn to stick together, and then Amy's like, I like this stick together plan. And then at the end, everything is resolved. They defeated Dr. Eggman, and then later they go to the beach, and then everything is back to normal. And then he shares the chili dogs with them, and he talks to his friends. They're like, you're acting different ever since the cave. But he's like, I'm gonna tell you a big story. And then there's like, kaboom, there's like an explosion and something crazy's happening. It's like, oh no, here we go again. And I don't know if they're gonna do another season 4. I heard they're not in the works, but I was watching a video where they were talking about the DVDs, and because they're gonna release DVDs and they're gonna say like, oh, there's 4 seasons, and I'm like, oh, but I don't know if they're gonna split them into 2, or it was like a miscalculation, but we'll have to see. Or they were gonna plan on making a season 4, but we'll have to see. But yeah, but that's all season 3s. So what did you thought of the Sonic Prime? I heard some people don't like it, but I really like Sonic Prime. I thought it was a really great show. If I had to name some problems, I did like the multiverse, but actually here's a missed opportunity, because I don't know, because I went on IMDb and it says from 2022 to 2024, so I don't know if they're just going to do 3 seasons, but that would be cool if they do. But missed opportunity here, because it's about the multiverse. And if you watch shows like the Ninja Turtles, like Turtles Forever, or even those animated, like when the 2012 Ninja Turtles met the 80s Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the 80s Ninja Turtles met the 2003 Ninja Turtles, like I kind of was hoping for something like that, like maybe Sonic Prime, or even the Jalea White Sonic shows, or Sonic X makes a cameo and they interact with the Sonic Prime universe. So, and where's Classic Sonic? Like Classic Sonic, it became an official character in the Sonic video games. Like he made an appearance in Sonic Forces and Sonic Genesis. So I'm surprised he didn't appear in here. Like, and you could have had Jalea White voice him. Like, it doesn't have to be the same Sonic from those other 3 TV shows. It could have just been a, a different version of the classic Sonic. Just have Jalea White voice him. But oh dear, missed opportunity. But I still really like the show, and I don't know if they're gonna make a season 4, but it was really great. And yeah, I also want to bring up the multiverse, like, because I remember I was reading this Bartman comic, the Simpsons Super Spectacular comic, about Bart Simpson, Bartman meets Cupcake Kid, Stretch Dude, and all his variants, and I thought that was really cool. And I like to read more comics or stories like that. And then Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions came out, the video game, and then Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, and that became one of my favorite movies. And then everything's doing the multiverse, a lot of shows and movies, but now people are feeling multiverse fatigue. Like people are getting tired of the multiverse. But I don't think it's the multiverse's fault. I think it's because some of the shows and movies didn't get a lot of good reviews. Like, because I hear people talk about how Fiona and Cake was a great show, and if you saw my episode recaps, you know how much I like that show. And Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse came out, and people loved the heck out of that show. And I mean, movie. People loved the heck out of that movie. So, and people want more of that, but I don't think it's superhero fatigue, or people are fatigued about multiverses or superhero shows isn't because of the movies or shows. It's because isn't because they're everywhere. I think it's because the shows and movies aren't good handled. Like, because remember, a great show or movie has to come from a story and characters. Like, you can't be like, oh, we're doing the multiverse, so that means you like it. And you should be like, you should put story and characters before cool ideas. Like, you can have a cool idea for a movie or a show, but you have to put some great story and characters. Like, look at Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. That had like great animation and characters we love and we want to follow. But yeah, and there was a lot of polarizing opinions on The Flash, how they didn't do their callbacks to their old movies very good. I didn't mind that. I liked it. The CGI wasn't that good, and I guess they could have shown more DC movies, and shows. But I don't know. I liked it fine. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the multiverse, and it kind of makes me sad to hear people are multiverse fatigued, because I have ideas. Because I think I said this before in my other videos, but for those who didn't saw it, I have thoughts of becoming a filmmaker and making my own shows, and I wanted to do movies and shows about the multiverse, but people are feeling fatigue about it. But I don't think it's the multiverse concept itself. I think it's just the movies and shows haven't been great. But it also makes me sad about superhero fatigue, because I love these superhero movies, and as you can see, I'm a big fan of superhero franchises, like even before it was even popular, like both multiverses and superheroes. I was like, I you know the old saying, I like them before they were even cool. But yeah, and I can't understand, like, some of the movies and shows haven't been that good. I mean, I like them fine, but I can understand if some people had problems with them. But it is disappointing. Well, Deadpool 3 is coming out, and I hope that's good. I don't know about the director or writers, because I looked up their resumes and what they write, but I don't know. and it might be about the multiverse or time travel. I have to see, but sorry, Sonic Prime. Yeah, well, I really liked the Sonic Prime show. I thought it was a great show. It was animated very well, and there's something else I want to bring up. Speaking of the multiverse, there's another show. There's another comic that attracted me by the title. Okay, so this is, I already showed this before, but for those of you who haven't seen my earlier videos, but um, this is called He-Man and the Masters of the Multiverse, and I really like the title of this, and I want to check it out. I only own like issues 6, 5, and 3, but I kind of want to get the other ones so I can fully read it and understand it better. I have read like the third one, but I kind of want to get all the other ones together so I can read them properly. But I thought I thought the concept was very cool, but yeah, so I really liked reading that, and I think I only read the third issue, but it was pretty interesting. I don't remember a lot of it because it was a while. But yeah, because I do like the multiverse, and I like seeing them interact with different versions of each other. But yeah, I hope if you remember just before, I did a whole thing about people feeling multiverse fatigue, but you know, it was a thing that's been happening in the comics for years. But yeah, and like I said before, you have to make the show and movie good before you can do a cool premise like that. But anyways, that's my review on Sonic Prime. What do you think of Sonic Prime? Do you like it? Do you don't like it? I really like it. It does keep going, like has one stretch-out story that surrounds it. I kind of like them to do other things in it, and I guess the robot battle went a bit on too long, um, but I liked it overall. It was a great Sonic series. I wonder what the next Sonic series will be like. I hope Knuckles comes out soon, but we'll have to see and find out. Okay, that's my review, and see you next time.